Yes. Welcome to Synchronicity. I was actually originally going to call this episode. Could I maybe provide a little bit of space to get acclimated? I'm just jumping right in like, hey, welcome. How you doing? How's life going? Mercury retrograde ended. Some people don't believe that's a thing, but it is a thing. Whether you believe in its impact and utilize the energetic blueprints it's providing and opportunities, well, that's up to you. But it's over now, forever. No, it's like does that shit a lot. But it is moving forward, so that's nice. Still in Scorpio, but moving forward. Okay. I was gonna call this episode Fear 101, but I decided to just make it Reality 103 because a lot more stuff started coming. But I think we'll start with fear. No, let's start with questions. Just completely changed my mind. I got some questions in. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a nice number. I like it. I am back in LA. Did I mention this? I'm back in LA November 26th through December 8th, give or take, on either end of that. Flexible tickets. It's only $25. I learned that lesson last time. You extend one day and it costs you, it's all good, but like, okay, now I know. Lesson learned. So yeah, we're going to start with these questions and then we're going to go into fear and then we're going to go into ego. And then we're going to get into some real shit. We're going to get into Christmas. Not Christmas like the holiday, but Jesus and Easter and what this shit actually means and crucifying yourself and what that means and how this is all psychological dramas, cosmic change, December 25th, all this shit. It's fucking cool. And it's so cool that it lines up with actually linear time. And it's not just like metaphorical and allegorical. Metaphorical and allegorical. Sounds weird. Anyway, we're going to get into that. And I just heard this. I've heard a lot of Neville Goddard. I reckon to say I've heard as much as, well, not as much as anyone else, but a lot. I've heard a lot. And I heard something, last night, I wrote down, I don't write down the IM things every night, but I do sometimes. And I wrote, I need to know more about astrology. It's been shown to me that I'm really good at it intuitively and naturally, but it's a skill I need to keep developing. So I just wrote down like, I am amazing. What was it? Amazing at astrology or something like that. And then today I'm driving and I was listening to this Neville Goddard thing. And I've read almost all of the books that have been out, all the anthologies, all this stuff, but I hadn't heard this before. If I had, it didn't click. He was talking about astrological significance of like Aries and Christmas and spring and then Virgo and the moon and generative light and moonlight. And I was like, oh my God, well, he's talking right to me. This is great. Also, I pulled up Neville Goddard's birth chart. If anyone has his time of birth, that would be huge. I have the location and the date. But if anyone has the birth time, I'd love to know his houses and his ascendant. That would be cool. All right, let's start with the... Oh, no. I was about to go into fear. Some metaphor there. No, we're going to start with the questions. Okay, here we go. You got questions. You're feeling good? Everything is good. All right, just... I know there can be some heavy energy. I'm going through it. Listen, all will be made clear in due time, but I'm going through it. Everyone's going through it. But there is a way to be light with this and carry levity and good intentions and fun into everything you do. And I will prove that to you. You'll see. But basically, just if things have been intense and rough, like, or just like really heavy energetically, just chill. It's all good. It's all good. And you're like, what do you mean it's all good? It doesn't feel all good. Well, there's your issue. Also, try to eliminate shall or try or will from your vocabulary and your mental diet, because it seems like a good thing to do. Like, oh yeah, I should try to be amazing at this. No, you're putting something in between being amazing at it. You just say, I am amazing at it. You don't you don't say, I'm gonna be saved. You say, I am saved. Hallelujah. For real. Just try it. Just catch yourself when you're doing it at first and then try to replace it and see what happens. You're constantly, the things you say and what you feel will be reflected back to you in this mirror like world. So just start paying attention. Everything is meditation too, right? Have you realized this yet? Or are you still doing the thing where you close your eyes and fight with your mind? Because I did that for a while. And now when I close my eyes, I don't fight with my mind. And lo and behold, I'm meditating when I do that too. But everything is meditation, every experience. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, but prove it to yourself. Don't take my word for it either. Okay, questions. Sorry. How often do you do the imagination exercise for a desire? Just once and then set it and forget it? Or nightly for a period until it comes to fruition? Or such a good question. I know I've covered this. Each time it's asked, a new dimension of experience has been revealed to me. It's malleable. Um, you do it until you feel and know that you have it. And then it becomes natural to live from that place. So that's your kind of jumping off point. But the time it takes you to accept that, um, initially, especially if you're like you're really doing this stuff, it may take you um some extra time to get there, just because it's like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Is this really going to work? And so that needs to settle in, which is why I also recommend, as like a bootstrap point, is just imagine that you're good at this and that it works. That's why I tell people to imagine inside of their imaginal scene. um that they knew they would imagine it, right? So, like, if you're imagining something you want or an outcome, in that state of mind, not just the feeling of having it, but being like, oh my God, I have it and I imagine this for myself. Holy shit. That's the trigger. That was that turbo boost I was talking about. Um, but yeah, you can just do it, set it and forget it. I mean, the truth is when you really get this stuff, it's a very light rein you hold. You kind of just get on your horse and you go, ride my horse, and you just go to where you want to go. And maybe it's a little, and you just kind of direct it lightly, and you don't have to consciously be like, go here, go here, go here, 5 steps this way, 3 steps. No, that's what you don't want to do. Just because it's like, it's too much. It's too much. And take it from someone who used to do that shit. Oh, that was my whole life. That was my whole life, was fighting reality. And I was like pretty good at fighting reality, and like shit was pretty okay for me, but I wasn't fulfilled. And that's what we want, right? Fulfillment, satisfaction, understanding reality. It's fun. I keep looking at this paper like it's the thing. I'm looking at the screen now because of the questions. I like paper. It's fun to hold. Okay. Yeah. So you just do it until it feels right. But yeah, initially I did it every night. I was like, oh, I'm going to believe this. And it still worked. So there's no wrong way to do it. But you will feel it and know it to be right when you do it the right way. Okay. Question number 2 that I just clicked off the screen because I was fucking with Ableton. Hold on. Okay. Question number 2. Have you experienced a general timeline, or how long it then takes to see what you've imagined materialize? Proof of concept. Hold on. What have you noticed? Oh, yeah. Okay. And I think there's some other questions that will come here. So, timelines, right? Or when something is going to happen. This is a stumbling block for some people, and it's an advantage for others. Really, for everyone, it can be either or. But if you're really pressed about something happening at a specific time or a specific thing, um, just make sure you're not repelling it, right? But if you want in your imaginal scene lightly to hold those reins and just know it's going to happen, you can do a lot of things. You can do it for a season, right? Because there's different temperatures or different things going on. You can do it for a day of the week, right? Certain days feel different. You ever notice that? I mean, Friday is ruled by Venus, Aphrodite. All right. So everyone knows what a Friday feels like. You know what a Sunday feels like? Yeah. Sun. You know what a Saturn's day feels like? A Saturday. So you know what a Thursday feels like. So just like you need to find that feeling of the day, and you can embed that in the scene. I did a technique when I had my garden active, when it wasn't too cold to grow stuff. Now, I would be like, when these tomatoes are ready, that's what's going to happen. And shit happened. So, and like, again, back then I was just testing a lot of this stuff out. So it didn't happen totally to the T, but it did lead me to my big shit. Your big shit will inevitably happen. Also, I'll point out you've done this before. You're doing it all the time. You definitely did it when you were a kid. You naturally did this while you were awake and while you were sleeping. You imagined a ton of stuff for yourself. And if that was cool shit because you were in a cool place, or even if you weren't in a cool place and you imagine cool shit, that's happening. So go back there and remember that. Okay. Yeah. Number 3. The don't take action piece is the one I am struggling with most. I'm still a little confused in how literal extreme this is. I really do nothing, but also, is this no action rule just for the period of experimental when you're proving the validity of this method to yourself? And then once you see it materialize enough times, you can go back to linking action with this imagineering, or always stick with the don't take action rule as part of the process. Great fucking question. Great question. Because a lot of people get tripped up by this. They hear me say don't take action and they go, well, you have to take physical action to do something. Yeah, I know that. And I'm not saying the person asked this question. That was like such a nice analysis of something that I think confuses people. Here's what you do. You appropriate the destination. You appropriate the state of consciousness. If I am going to be in good physical shape, it stands to reason some physical thing would need to happen for that to take place. Whether that's me like Paramahansa Yogananda-ing, like, myself in front of your face into like this super buff person. Probably not. Maybe. That was pretty cool. We should get to that point. That'd be amazing. But it means that I'll probably have to work out. I might have to, just be more aware of my relationship with food, those things. However, what I'm saying is when you do it initially for something and you don't take any action and it happens, you'll start to see, okay, that's really what's going on. But when you start imagining something big, you will naturally take the steps to get to where you need to go. So that's why I recommend embedding the end scene with the feeling of, oh, that happened in the perfect way. Oh, that was the perfect thing. And it was not even that hard. Like, it wasn't uncomfortable. Because what I've found, I used to fight against exercising. I used to be like, this sucks. I don't want to do it. I don't like it. And now I'm like, I not only gotta do it, but I love it. So I'm taking the physical action. I'm making albums. I'm making songs. I'm recording podcasts. Like, if the proof is if I really was like, don't do anything ever in this world, you wouldn't hear anything from me. There wouldn't be new episodes, especially wouldn't be like a shitload of episodes a week. So yeah, of course, action is taken, but you don't want to trick yourself into thinking that the action is what's getting the thing done, because that'll fuck you up. Because then it's like, oh, well, this happened because I did that. It's like, no. That's totally not right. Totally not right. You have it backwards. So pick things. And I've been saying I've been doing this. I will wait for people to get in contact with me if I need to talk to them. Not because I'm like a dick. I'm like, come to me. I'm the coolest. But just because I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for this to be the most auspicious time. And I've had that happen so much. And they'll usually get in touch with me about something totally different. And I'll be like, oh, this is the time. Perfect. So that way you don't force things. You don't make the misapprehension that the thing you did in the physical world is actually what led to it. It's your state of consciousness. So that's why I say don't take any action, because it does prove that exists. So that gets to your question of like, yeah, it's kind of more for the beginning. At a certain point, you just click in and do what you're supposed to do. But if you just only do that and like with the physical action and taking action, the chances are you're gonna misapprehend what's actually going on. And I see the people who rail against this the most, who are like, well, you obviously have to do something. You have to do something. It's like, yeah, I know. Everyone knows that. Like, no one is just laying in a lump all day long getting shit done. Like, duh. But it changes your consciousness, this unconditioned awareness of what's going on, which is, that's the whole thing. That's God, that's source, that's everything, that's you. So that's what's really there. And that is compelled to make you take action. It compels you to take action as you imagine and believe and feel what you want to experience and who you want to be. Okay, great question. I know a lot of people deal with that because they're like, what do you mean like you can't take action? It's like, you do. I mean, you see me, I'm making moves, man. I imagine myself in LA, and I actually had to book the ticket. You know what I mean? but it's natural. It's like, oh, I definitely am supposed to book this ticket. And that's what intuition is. So like, okay, this might rub people who are intuitive and new agey and in the world of duality the wrong way, but all of our intuitive faculties, like our guides, our spirits, and they're real. They're real. They're totally real. The people we know in this world, they're real in dualistic reality, but they're really just narratives that we're telling ourselves. So when we're like, spirit, tell me something, it's you telling yourself something. You've used this abstraction of a spirit to make it easier to comprehend, or it's fun, whatever, but it's you. Always. That's what spirit's telling me to say. Enjoy that paradox, people. All right, next question. How to decrease the interval between the state or thing desired and the unfolding? Yes. It's the most frustrating answer. Don't give a shit, right? Well, there's a few things. The first thing is if you want it to happen, if you want it to happen, it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. You're just delaying it. You're just delaying it. That energy is delaying it. And you don't see it. And you're like, what do you mean I'm delaying it? I want it now. Why wouldn't I have it now? That's your conscious mind. It's your conscious mind just saying, like, I'm in control. I want it now. And then when you let go of that, your subconscious mind's like, oh, okay, now I can give it to you. That's one way. The other is by using and getting confident. This is more like an advanced technique, but using days of the week, months of the year, fixed dates, if you're bold, seasons. That shit can make it pretty easy. Plus, you might find that as you imagine things and try them out in different seasons or different days or different months, they feel more appropriate. Interesting. Time doesn't exist, guys. It means that you can have everything. You already have it all. You're not going to have something. So as soon as you recognize that, you'll be astonished how quickly it unfolds in your life. Okay. Next question. Goddard talks about specifically trying to take on the feeling of tone of the... What? Goddard talks about specifically trying to take on the feeling tone of the day you want and desire for X desire to transpire. Could you speak a little bit to that? I just did. That's weird. Let me try to give it a specific example that's not something I'm doing or related, just because you don't want to by accident implant things in your subconscious. Have you ever noticed when you're listening to someone who's very clear or just powerful, they don't even have to be clear, you may pick up on and just believe what they're saying. And like sometimes you catch yourself and you're like, yo, whoa, is that right? Is that me? What is that? And then sometimes it's like you don't even notice it and you just accepted some subjective truth that was their opinion of something, and you're like, oh boy. So let me talk about let's just make up an example. Maybe it'll come true. Let's pick a good one. Let's use it lovingly. We did the money thing, we did the attraction thing. Let's do a group imagining with the day of a week thing. That is fun. Good news. Okay, let's find let's say Sunday, that's a good day, the Lord's Day. This Sunday, or any Sunday, because whenever you hear this, it doesn't matter if it's this Sunday, but Sunday, the infinite Sunday, you will hear some very good, unexpected news. Could be related to anything. I'm being pretty vague here. Should we make it more specific? You will get some good news. No, you're just going to get good news. I don't want to condition that for you. You're going to get some good news. So imagine a scene on Sunday, feel it as Sunday, any Sunday, and imagine just hearing that news. And so the end scene you could imagine is saying someone's like, oh my God, I got the best news today. Or someone's like, wow, it's so great that happened for you. So that's your scene. And let's see if that works. Okay, so that's all it is. That's the speaking to it is do it. Next question. Did the imaginal scene. A few weeks later, I found myself in the scene, but without the desired outcome. Then I moved to a different location from where I first loaded the scene and outcome. I probably won't be back there for a long time. Would you recommend creating a new imaginal version in my new location? Do whatever you want, is the truth. Do what feels right. Don't worry about the circumstances. What I read in that sentence is that you're paying attention to your senses, your physical senses. Don't worry about it. When scenes don't conform energetically and feeling wise to what it is, that's not it. That's close, but no cigar. You want the energetic feeling, even if the physical scene doesn't match. You want the energetic feeling. That's the important thing. So there can be a degree of variation to the physical location and maybe even the people. And it's malleable. Do that. And also, like, let me say something which is popping in my head now, which means I'm supposed to talk about it. God, imagine trusting yourself enough to just talk about everything that pops in your head. That's what I do. If you're imagining a significant partner or like another, don't get too fixated on a person. Okay. Get fixated on characteristics you would like to see or traits or ideals that you would like to have in a partner. First of all, do it with yourself. Embody those qualities yourself and then see what attracts you. But if you get too fixated on a person, you may be projecting, you may be playing a little karmic game with yourself, and take it from someone who did this with women for a very long time. And when the karmic tendency pops up now, I'm aware of it. I'm like, oh no, not that. I'm not going to do that again. But this is something I ran unconsciously for so long, is you don't want to project your own divinity and worth onto another person. And it doesn't take away the fun of being in relationships with people. It makes it so much better because you're an honest, put together, have your shit together person. And then when you get in a relationship with someone, inevitably you're going to be able to operate from that level. Does it mean that there's never going to be any issues? Unlikely. Possible, but unlikely just based on how humans are. But if you were both very conscious, those issues could be mitigated almost from the beginning. Not almost, from the beginning. Time doesn't exist. So that's why I say imagine the qualities that you would like, the ideals in yourself first. That's the best way to do it. There's the Tufti, the priestess thing. I'm just calling her Tufti. I know it's Tafty. I love you, Tafty, Tufti. Imagine like this world is a mirror, right? She's very clear about that, and it's very true. And what you do is you imagine in your head looking at a mirror, but this is a reality mirror. You can make it a physical mirror. And what you're going to do if you want something is give it to the reflection in the mirror. Give it, right? Like, so if you want love, give the reflection love. If you want happiness, give the reflection happiness. If you want wealth, give the reflection wealth. And as you keep to do this, you'll see that this world is actually a mirror. It's not like a physical mirror where you look at and you can see the reflection. There's the boundary of it. And you're like, oh, okay, I see that that's a mirror. But it is a mirror in the sense that what you imagine and feel and believe in your head is inevitably reflected back to you. But if you're not aware of what you're doing, it just seems like, oh, because the mirror doesn't work like a reflection in the way we know it. There's delays in time and physical circumstances. So it trips us up, but that is nevertheless what's going on. And it's pretty fucking great if you know how to use it. If not, it's kind of terrifying. It's like, whoa, I feel bad and all I see is bad shit around me. The world's bad. It's like, nope. I don't know how I got off on that tangent. I guess because you were saying in this question that the scene loaded up without the desired outcome. Though that certainly wasn't it then, because the desired outcome is actually who you are. And we'll get into this with the Jesus and the generative light and the moon. You know, these days I pull stuff from Neville Goddard, but then as it sits in my mind, it turns into something else and I think that's the name of the game. And I want to say this about mystics and saints. Don't get too caught up in the avatar. Take what they're dishing out as a clear vessel and then make it your own, because that is the name of the game. If we gurutize or just try to follow the doctrine of one person, we're doing not what's honoring our own true divinity. So yeah, we use these people. I love listening to Neville Goddard. I love reading all these new books, but I don't get caught up in the avatar of the person. And yeah, I do in some ways, like the personality, the voice, it's wonderful, but I don't make the misapprehension that like they have something I don't. You have it, right? Okay. Ooh, big question. How to make your heart believe it can beat the GI parasites microbe. Oh, good question. All right. So I heard this also spoken about. Jessa spoke about it with Lacey. I've heard just the beginning part of the second. She dropped 2 in the day. Go check it out. Jessa Soberish podcast, great, very good. And they're talking about parasites, and I've heard Jessa talk about parasites a lot. And I think I had parasites, physical parasites. I don't know. I went to the doctor like last year in 2018, and I never had stomach issues. And man, my stomach was fucked up for like 10 days. I couldn't eat shit. It was crazy. And I'm pretty sure it was parasites. It was something weird. Okay. Um, that's not happening to me again, in the same way that my health is determined by your psychological state. Okay, we can look at this two ways, the GI parasites. And I'm going to preface this by saying I've noticed people have a jumping off point with imagination. There is a point where people say, no, this is too much for me. This is crazy. It works up until this point. Now, a lot of those ideas have to do with physical conditions, realities, limitations, perceived limitations by physical reality. Some of them have to do with emotional trauma. Like, no way, Jose, you're telling me I can get over depression and like mental illness, quote unquote, from imagination? Fuck out of here, man. You don't know what you're talking about. A lot of it has to do with security, and that can relate to money. So if I say, hey, you can imagine a state of wealth and then wealth will flow to you, they'll be like, that's not how reality works. Capitalism is this evil mechanism that grinds people down. And therefore it's like, oh, okay, that's what you believe. Guess what's happening? And then a lot of it can just be narrative related, just stories and patterns that you run in your mind and shape your reality. So those are jumping off points for people. So what I'm about to say, if this is a jumping off point for you, that's cool. Just examine it, see what's going on. People very close to me have given me feedback on this, and I listen and I hold space and I hear it, but I am not backing off from some of this stuff. I've seen people heal themselves from miraculous ways with many different things, and it all is belief and faith. So GI parasites, imagine them gone for real. Just imagine the end state. That's it. Okay. They may be real. They may be psychic. They may be something. If you believe that when you get rid of them, or if they catch you, they replicate, they do. If you know that you can get rid of them and live from that state, they'll be gone pretty soon and you'll be amazed. I know this from people in my own life who have had GI problems for years, came into my life, my babysitter. She came in and she's healed. I don't know what else to say. She tells me she's like, I'm freaking out. It's so weird to me. And this is something she's dealt with for years. So it's your belief that there are actual parasites, psychic or otherwise. Now, in dualistic world, am I denying the fact that there are energy vampires and psychic parasites and physical parasites? No, like, duh, we can see them. But if you give them power because you believe that they work in some way, physiological or etherically otherwise, and what they're probably doing is showing you a block. So I find if the trouble, the pain, the uncomfort, the discomfort, find where it is, then Google something or find someone who knows about like healing for real and find what that's related to, and you can do this pretty easily with the internet now. God bless the internet. So find where the block is, find where the energetic thing is, because it's you showing yourself something. It's all you. No one is doing anything to you. And yeah, like people be like, well, you know what? There's the Illuminati and these elites and they're doing this shit. Maybe. I don't believe that. I don't let them affect me. Guess what happens? They don't affect me. Weird. You can be, Noah, you just don't know. Okay. Interesting. I'm just saying if this is your jumping off point and it rubs you the wrong way because you've been dealing with chronic illness or physical, emotional, you have been dealing with poverty mindsets, or you're telling yourself bad stories, change those first. Believe, imagine the end, that you're healed, and watch what the fuck happens. For real. A lot of bad things don't happen to me because nothing bad happens. Sometimes I go through uncomfortable things. That's certainly happened in the past, but to the degree that I understand and really fully believe and have faith that bad things don't happen to me and uncomfortable things don't happen to me, I'm not delusional. I'm not saying there aren't circumstances in the world that are uncomfortable and challenging. It's just they're there to show you how to transcend them. That's why we go through suffering. So if you have GI parasites, microbes, whatever, no, you don't. If you're saying you do, if you say, how do I beat them? How should I do it? I'm going to try to do it. I will do it. Nope. You got them. If you say, I don't have them, I've clearly imagined the state where this is gone. It's a memory. You don't have them. Let it unfold. They're going to test you probably if they're physical things because it's a psychic emanation. It's a physical emanation of a psychic reality, which is you trying to tell yourself something. And we're weird teachers to ourselves sometimes. but that's what it is. And I know this shit sounds like crazy time, but I'm not pitching you anything. I'm not selling you anything. There's no magic tonic you need to buy that, cures all your stuff. Oh, I guess CBD. CBD is pretty powerful. Cannabis in general, if you need, and let me tell you why it is. It shifts your fucking body into the imaginal realm. So when you take CBD or something like that, it literally shifts you into your body. If it's CBD, it seems like your body accepts it. THC, your mind accepts it. The reason I'm a fan of the flower of cannabis and its whole is it's all that stuff. And it just integrates all of your body when you know how to use it, body and mind and spirit. And ooh, baby, you are fucking loose. Do what you want. You ever notice how good sex is when you're high on cannabis? Huh? What do you think that is? Because your mind, your body, and your soul are fucking right there. Oh, there's nothing better. It's like a permanent orgasm. That's my state these days. I'm just like, when I see the girl who, like, I feel so bad. She couldn't stop having orgasms. She was like in the interview and she's like, oh. It's like, oh man, that's a rough, she'll be on like the bus or driving and just like climaxing a million times. That's kind of my state, except I'm not weird about it. Everything is great, man. Okay. Those are the questions. And that was, oh shit, that was half an hour? Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to have to move. Let me extend-o-matic this because there is no way. I think it's going to be longer than I thought. Okay. Shouldn't be that long. Okay. All right. Fear. Let's talk about fear. Let's talk about the devil. Fear can be used in the same way that desire can be used. It's not a big baddie meant to fuck your shit up, right? When you know what to do with fear, I've been talking about this a lot, especially during the readings, is you move towards it and then it evaporates and you see there's usually some type of boon and treasure chest right behind it. But fear and desire are both turbo boosts and they're usually related to each other, especially when desires come up that seem incongruent with your life. Fear may be attached to them. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just the different polarity of it. I don't even know polarity. It's somewhere on the spectrum. They're related. I'll try to figure out where at some point. But you can use fear as a catalyst. So I'm talking about this right now for a very specific reason. In February of 2020, we're going to have so many planets all lined up in Capricorn. And Capricorn is the devil. It's the path of fear. It's nothing to be feared, but it is the path. So we're going to have Saturn, kind of karmic lessons, nobility. We're going to have Pluto, the reviewer, the destroyer. We're going to have, what else is there? Jupiter, the boon giver, right? All of these energies, I think Venus and Mars, all these things are coming through there in Capricorn. And that's in 2020. And then Aquarius, it's just it's a whole, not Aquarius, it's the age of Aquarius is coinciding with this. Anyway, it's a big energetic period. So now is the time to figure out what to do with desire and fear. And this is the left-hand path. This is moving into the world, in your imagination, and then using this mirror-like projection of the world to your advantage. Yeah, you have to stay diligent with fear because if you don't, it'll fuck you up. And it's you. It's you doing this. You need to test yourself with fear sometimes. You have to, because when you transcend it, you'll see, oh my God, it is a turbo boost. It's showing me presently and acutely what I need to deal with and how to transcend it. So you just start getting accustomed to moving towards it. Just move towards your fears. Do not be reckless. Do not be dangerous. You don't have to really worry about these things, but just get accustomed to moving towards it internally, and then your external actions will follow. Fear only exists in your mind, right? It's like everything else, but it is not a real thing in any way that anything else is, but it is a useful tool. And it's your ally, both fear and desire. They're both your allies, and we fucking judge them and we fight them, our desires and our fears, and it's just strengthening them, which is good. Thank God it does that. Thank God we strengthen our fears when we push them, run away from them, because they're trying to help us. Thank God our desires become uncontrollable if we keep suppressing them for our entire lives, because they're trying to help us. You are giving yourself a blueprint and a path towards realization. Oh God, it sounds so holier than thou sometimes when I say it, but it's true because I've experienced it. And I'm sure you're beginning to as well, right? The first part of this stuff, this is why it's reality 103. 101, stabilize your shit. 102, recognize the rules of the game. Maybe start helping a few other people. 103 is, yo, this is how everything always works. What are the fucking modalities and things we can use to constantly propel ourselves up the fiery spiral of ascension, right? Fear and desire are those tools that we're learning about right now energetically. Don't run away from them. If you don't take the opportunity now to deal with them, you're not going to be like left behind, but in linear time, it's going to be like, oh, no, it's harder. Catch the motherfucking wave. I'm out here on like these 50-foot, how tall are waves now? I don't know, 100-foot waves. I'm fucking doing tricks, aerial tricks. Come catch this wave with me. It's not hard. Anyone can do it for real. Fear and desire are your surfboard and I don't know, it's your surfboards, both. 2 surfboards, can you do that? I don't know. Some cool shit. Surfing analogy falling apart. Let's talk about ego. Let's talk about motherfucking ego for a second. Very few people I find have a healthy relationship with their egos. There is the Ram Dass quote, right? The ego is a terrible master, but a wonderful servant. That's a good way of looking at it. But don't be mean to your ego and tell it it's a terrible master. That's not true. Your ego's cool. Sometimes you let your dogs pull you. You know what I mean? And that's what your ego is. They're wolves. They're dogs. They'll fucking take you where you want to go. And not in a bad way. You're up in Alaska, you fucking need to get somewhere. You put those sled dogs on. Your ego's a motherfucking beast getting you where to go. You get off. You feed your dogs. You cuddle with your dogs. You're like, yeah. So do not shit on your ego. Do not subdue it. Do not destroy it. Do not silence it. What you do want to do is silence the limited versions of yourself that keep you bound to judgment, negative emotions, negative self-talk. You can just, say, no, I don't accept that anymore. But your ego is a necessary function of being alive. And we have developed, do you think, let me ask you a question. Don't you think it's weird in all of the communities, especially the spiritual ones, where they're like, fuck the ego? Don't you think it's weird that there's all these egoic problems there? It's almost like they're identifying that they have these problems and then blaming it on the ego, and therefore that's what's happening. I've seen this. I've done this. It's not your ego. Your ego is your friend, okay? Make it your friend. Play with it. Let it take control sometimes, too. It's going to direct you. If we didn't have an ego, we would be jellyless lumps of nothing, doing nothing anywhere ever. We'd be blobs because we'd have no sense of self. We're human beings because it's fun, and our ego is a part of being human. Do not fucking smash it to blithereens because you think you're some fucking ascended master. No ascended master does that. They're happy. They're cool. They're not like, I'm cutting off my ego. So a lot of this is translation stuff. Like a lot of the Buddhist stuff, they don't carry around the same conception of self as a lot of Westerners. So when you hear like Chogyam Trungpa, for instance, say, enlightenment is ego's ultimate disappointment. It's like, yeah, fuck the ego is what a Westerner thinks. But I don't know if Chogyam, God, I'm at the point where I'm questioning the wisdom of Chogyam Trungpa. Well, that's where I am. I don't know if he had the incorrect idea of what ego was, but I think he may be saying it to challenge people to point out where their egos are. And it's kind of like this weird Zen koan where like he's showing you like, don't take that too literally. If that's what he's doing, he's right. But if he's saying like the ego is actually disappointed when you realize you're everything, not true. Just go around saying fucking incredibly wise and profound mystics are wrong. Fun times. Physical action always follows. Oh, I already dealt with that. That's so funny that some of these things I wrote down were the questions. We'll just go over that again, though, since I wrote it down. Physical action always follows your appropriated state of consciousness. So that's how you don't have to worry about the taking action thing. Because like once you get this, you'll appropriate a state of consciousness. It's like you're running a script, right? You're running the script. You're compelled to follow the script. You just have to believe it. This is just a to-do list of things. A new accountant. My accountant fucked my shit up last year. I had to deal with it. And then he had the audacity to send me an invoice. Like, he's like, you haven't paid this. I'm like, dude, you almost cost me like a lot of money. I'm not paying your fucking my shit up. You crazy? All right. The Christmas stuff. You know what? I think I'm going to save this for another episode because it'll be closer to Christmas and Good Friday and all of these things. And I'm Jewish, and I don't know what those things actually mean in literal sense, but I know metaphorically and symbolically, and what they actually mean is pretty cool. I will say it has to do with, you ever notice that Easter is a malleable holiday? It moves around, right? But Christmas is fixed, always on the 25th. The birth is fixed, but the resurrection moves around. Weird. What is the cross? What is going on? Your being equals your awareness. You're going to crucify yourself. The cross is your conception of self. The resurrection is lifting that new awareness and desire into the visibility, right? It's your conception of self risen up. So the thing you imagine then appears in your life. We'll get into all this stuff. I'm not going to do it today. It also it really has a lot to do with astrology, growth, the world. Just know the nail to the cross, and we want to crucify ourselves, right? We crucify a state of consciousness into our mind. The nail is the feeling, right? The birth of the child, the immaculate conception, conception of yourself, conception as in birth, is the new awareness that you give birth to. But the feeling is what provides that. Heaven is just a state of consciousness. That's why it's within, right? You got it? It's also probably a real place when you go. If you want to leave this physical body, smoke some DMT and go to heaven without a body. But it's also here. What a joy. What a joy. All right. So this isn't going to be as long as I thought it was going to be. That's great. Let me just go through. Is there anything else that's coming up? You know what? Let me put the notes away and see if anything is coming up that I can intuitively tap into. No, I think, how about I give it a second? Yeah, just deal. I know it's still transitioning, right? These worlds are still in linear time merging and unfolding. The new world, it's not here yet. We'll get into this a little bit into the 2020 episode, which will come before 2020. But just persevere, have patience. I didn't pull the cards yet today. I'm going to go on Instagram and pull that. But just hang on and know that the thing you have fixed in your mind as your destination is most certainly coming. Do not get swayed. This is not the time to give up. It's the time to keep moving. If you want some more inspiration, go check out Water Baby Tarot. Lola. Jessa put me on to her. I'm going to try to link with her when I'm in LA. I'm not going to try to. I am. How about that? Catching my own bullshit. She's great. Her energy update related to Mars moving into Scorpio was just whoa. So that's cool. I'm gonna jump on YouTube and do some stuff this week. I'm getting in the groove. I've been transitioning to I'm a woman now. I'm a woman. No, I'm transitioning in physical reality in multiple ways, but I'm getting set up where I am right now. And I will get on YouTube and Instagram and those things where you can see what's going on. We can talk about this stuff because I'm recognizing, like, YouTube is cool because you just jump on and you talk and you can get your stuff out and you just like get in the flow. I like it. I like Instagram for that too. So follow me on those places, subscribe. MindPod Network, YouTube. Also, I do a lot from there, or I will be. Rate and review this podcast. What else? I don't know. That's it. That's it for this episode. I know there's a lot going on, guys. I know it. I can feel it. Just don't get discouraged. That's the main thing. Faith is holding to your vision. Just hold to it. I promise you. I've seen where we're going. I said this before. I promise you, it's great. You may be like, Noah, that's just wishful thinking. Well, if you know how to actually wishfully think, then great. Thank you. Then I'm doing a good job. Questions, keep them coming in. Noah@syncpodcast.com. There's the survey. The readings are open for now. Like I said, I was speaking to Jake, my bud, my assistant. I'm just going to figure out the best way to do this so it works for me and it works for everyone else. But yeah, while they're open, getting while the getting's good. I'm not closing them for good. I'm just trying to get it scheduling working out. That's it. Come say hi in LA in a week, and then I'll be there for a couple weeks. So that's going to be really nice. Looking forward to that. Just take a deep breath, breathe. Everything's great. Everything is wonderful. I love you. Do you know that? I do. And you know why I love you? Because I love me. I really love me a lot. I unconditionally accept myself. I unconditionally have forgiven myself, and I unconditionally love myself. And I've seen as I've done that what happens in my life. So I recommend you do it too. Certainly, if you're getting a stumbling block for imagining, um, forgive everyone else. No need to hold on. Start with yourself and then see how easy it is to actually do that. Not in a weird way, not in a pussy way, not letting people walk all over you, but in a nice, holy, wonderful, cool, relaxed, creative, playful way. Okay, that's it for this episode. I will see you probably tomorrow with the guest. That's it. Happy imagining.